This week on Code 0292, we chat with young Bulawayo writer Owen Moyo. He tells us more about his soon-to-be launched book, The Power, Anger Over Joy, what it's all about, and its relevance to society. Good morning and welcome to Code 0292, a youth show that focuses on young people and their issues. My name is Lungile, your host with the most. Today on the show, we'll be profiling a young man who has been writing books and poems. He will introduce himself. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lungile, for introducing me to the show. My name is Owen Mthobi Moyo. I'm from my real home is in Cholocho. That's where I'm come from. They call it Cholocho. Yes. As of now, I stay at Sizinda. That's where I'm based.
Okay. So, Owen, jongo muntu owalapha ko Bulawayo. Umuntu ohlala Sizinda. Tell us more about the book. Before we get into the book, let's talk about you writing.
Okay.
Let's talk about your journey, from where you started up until now. Since this is your first book that you're publishing,
yes.
So tell us about that.
Okay. This is my first book that I'm publishing. So I've been a writer, not an author, so I am to become an author. And my history of writing, I started writing when I was at Form 2. I was writing, developed poems. I was a poetic person, a cultural person at school. Yes. That elevated my desire to write, and in writing those poems, that's where I gained that idea of going much more deeper to life than writing poems. And so it's been a journey whereby I was just writing poems, but well, it's been a journey. That's why then I have decided to make myself an official author. Yes.
Okay, and the developed poems that you're talking about, you were at high school. What kind of poems were they? What were they talking about?
Okay. For example, there was this poem at school, at Mthobi High School, that was saying, it was titled Dimbiza Yolwazi, the Pot of Knowledge. It was a praise poem for my school, and I'm pretty sure it became the best poem that was ever recited at school. And this other poem that talks about hence in a way we have been searching for a monster. We've been searching for monsters in life, but we haven't really seen one. As the poem concludes that the real monster is the person sitting next to you. Those are the types of poems that I write.
The way you're talking about this, you were just informed to writing
yes.
such poems.
Yes.
I feel like they were, in a way, a bit deep for umuntu oyabe form 2. How did you manage to have such in-depth knowledge about poems and write about such things for someone who is probably you were 14 or 15 at around that time?
Yes, yes. I always tell people that knowledge is everywhere. It's only our ability to deduct the knowledge from everywhere it is. Hence, as a result, therefore, I think there was this inborn thing in me that I just see knowledge everywhere I go, and in a way, I would say it was just a God-given gift, I would say, to be able to understand that I can really write deeper things and see things beyond what we could ever imagine.
Okay, so still on the poems, approximately, if you can know the number of poems that you have written over the years, how many can you say, Wuti? Can you just, a rough number? Okay,
I can approximately, I would say I've wrote about 50 to 60 poems. I've wrote about 50 to 60 poems, depending on the topics. And it has become hard for me to compile them into one book, because they focus on different topics altogether. There was this poem that I wrote titled "Who is Old Between Time and God?" You see, which created the other time or God? Did time create God or God created time? So in a way, those are the poems. They are scattered all over the place. So I can't. I've been facing a challenge with how can I best chuck them in one place and then make a book that has things that can be really fathomable in a way.
So my suggestion to you is, I think you could actually, if you could compile the poems into a book, it would be a great idea, because you need young people like you who would inspire other young people who want to be poets, who want to venture into that field where they can be poets, where they can be writers, and at least they can get something tangible from you. Because right now you're saying that they are scattered all over the place. No one can see your poems. And I feel like that is something, that is a challenge that I'm putting you up to it, that you need to compile your poems into something which is very tangible for young people. And from what I'm getting from you as well, is you get inspiration from things that you see. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. You're on point. And on the issues of poems, on combining them, yes, it's a great suggestion you're bringing up, Lungile, and I'm glad you brought it up. As you said, it's a challenge, and my motto as a young man is that I really aspire to inspire before I expire, because every one of us was born with an expiry date at birth.
Okay. All right, let's move on from the poems, because I feel like we've done so much on it. Let's talk about your book, The Power, Anger Over Joy. Let's talk about it. What is the book about?
Okay. The Power, Anger Over Joy is a non-fiction book. It's a non-fiction book that focuses on how the society has perceived what power is. It's about perceptions and illusions of power that we have created. Hence, it seeks to show and dismantle our perceptions of what power is, and shifts focus and to redirect us to the true meaning of what power is. And in a way, that is what the book focuses on, in as much as it is concerned, and it goes much more deeper and unravels the mystery that I call the formula that I termed anger over joy. It's a formula towards achieving the ultimate power, which is individualistic rather than societal or communal in a way.
Okay, so you are saying that it is better to have control whilst you are as an individual than as a collective. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying is, in most instances, we have seen externalities defining internalities, and the book seeks to promote internalities defining externalities. Let me unravel this further. In a way, let's look at the people who have modified our levels of trust. You know, today we are able to just write secret things on our social media applications and whatnot. But this has been done by people who were introverts, who kept to themselves, who were perceived to be social outcasts, who were perceived to be lunatics in a way. But those lunatics today have enabled for us to have online banking. Someone can just pump out their money, just transfer it just like that. But back then, no one would just put their money on the internet and think it's safe. Hence, in a way, we need people who procreate, who recreate society and redefine our perceptions as society, and try and find and will a new dimensions as society. That's basically what the book tries to achieve in every individual out there.
I'm with Owen Moyo. We're discussing his book, The Power, Anger Over Joy, which talks about external forces influencing internal forces. Let's take a short break. Don't go anywhere.
How many are mourning Oliver Mthobi? So many are mourning Oliver Mthobi. Everyone is updated Oliver Mthobi on their WhatsApp statuses and on their Facebook handles, on their Twitter handles. Everyone, including Amazon Mnangagwa and Nelson Chamisa, they are mourning him. But how many are mourning for the 12 who died during the protest time.
The cyberspace is home to billions of people and is the right platform you need to grow your business. The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website, www.site.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Bulawayo. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.
Welcome back to Code 0292. I'm with Owen. We're discussing his book, The Power, Anger Over Joy. From what you're saying, I'm gathering that what I think is it's a very challenging book, because in society we have come up with this thing where everything that is around us is influenced by what we see outside. Like what you're saying, that external factors, they influence the internal factors. Yes. So whatever happens outside, I want to we look at the media, we look at what's happening in our communities. We go to the churches, we go to school, anyway where people are gathered. That's what influences us. So for this book to be, it's very challenging, because it's challenging an individual person to come out as an individual and have so much influence without any external forces trying to influence that person. And how achievable do you think that can be?
Okay, it is achievable in a sense that as the book highlights, that anger over joy is a formula towards achieving the ultimate power. Ultimate power being knowing yourself, owning it, and being it. And as a result, therefore, I would just say that the formula that is anger over joy is anger is understood as an emotion by most of us, but in the book, anger is portrayed as an attitude of life. For example, when you bewilder me, when I get angry at you, I will tell you the utmost truth that no one has ever told you. Mm-hmm. Hence, that attitude, we need to adorn and embrace that kind of attitude when we are to acquire the self, the shell self that is termed again in the book, when we are to acquire the ultimate power, which is knowing ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain a bit further on the shell self? Tell me more about that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The shell self is in the book. There's a segment that is termed arrows and paradigms. The arrows and paradigms are short poems that focus on what will be inscribed in the book further. It's the first segment. Yes, in that segment, there comes a way that shows that that humans are a shellless tortoises. We are shellless tortoises. Mm-hmm. We don't have shells in a way because we are influenced, right? Hence, as a result, therefore, the shell self is that self which is not influenced by the external factors. Is that self we need to fit in, not to fit in society, because we strive to fit in. Hence, we are beings that strive to fit in. We need to strive and fit in the shell self. The shell self is that self that you would like to become, but you cannot become as you want to fit in society, because you want to fit in society.
Okay. So the way, okay, fine. So this book, it's talking about individualism, and I'm even scared to ask this, but I just have to, because we do not want to talk about the external forces influencing us.
Yes.
But what made you think about writing such a book that is so powerful?
Okay, what made me think of writing such a book is that at times I identified, maybe let me put it more further so that people could relate. In my life, there came a time whereby things were not moving well on my side, and I realized that everyone around me was shifting away from me, because previously they used to hang around with me just because they had something that they wanted from me, right? As I came up with the conclusion that no, the society will never value in terms of what you are. They will never value on who you are, but they will value on what you are. Just because you are something, then you have something. Maybe, for example, you've got a title, you are a pastor. They will value you because you're a pastor, not because you are who you are. You are your original self. They will value, society will value you basing on what it can extract from you. It's about extraction, not development when it comes to relationships between people.
Okay,
yes.
So this book, in a way, it was also more like a self-realization on you are discovering yourself at
yes.
the same time discovering what other people see in you when they are looking at you and when they are viewing themselves, and when compared to you, yes. You're just trying to look at those dynamics.
True.
In a way.
I was just trying to look at those dynamics as one wouldn't want to value you because you don't have a credible job, for example. You don't have a credible job. Someone would devalue you just on the grounds that you don't have a credible job. Let's hit an example. It's a current example. How many are mourning Oliver Mthobi? So many are mourning Oliver Mthobi. Everyone is updated Oliver Mthobi on their WhatsApp statuses and on their Facebook handles, on their Twitter handles. Everyone, including Amazon Nangaka and Nelson Chamisa, they are mourning him. But how many are mourning for the 12 who died during the protest time? You will discover that no one, because those acted on who they are, not what they are. Oliver Mthobi was a musician. The society values him because he was a musician. But those who acted on the days of protest, acted basing on who they are, that they are sympathetic people, they are people who really want to see a change in the community. They acted on who they are, not what they are.
All right. And society only appraises you when they want something from you, when they can relate with whatever you're doing. That's when they value you.
Yes.
But if they don't, then that's another story.
That's another story. Yes.
Okay. And so through the time, how long did it take you to actually write this book?
I would say 1 year, 6 months to 1 year. 6 months to 1 year.
And what were the things that you learned in the process of writing this book?
The things that I learned in the process of writing a book, as you can see, at times when I explain, I learned that it's so. I'm someone who keeps to themselves most of the times. I keep to myself. So at times I just explain myself in the shortest sentence possible. But in writing this book, I've learned that it is so vital to reduce everything to the point of let others. When I say to the point of let others, I mean to the point where even not the intelligent amongst us could understand, to reduce everything to its simplest terms, because I've seen, my mind works in a different way altogether, that whatever I think, I need to break it down and then elucidate further so that anyone who listens to it can grasp it and fathom it much more better.
I'm still with Owen Moyo. We're still discussing his book, The Power, Anger Over Joy. Let's take a short break, and after we come back, we'll discuss more about how his book impacts the society.
And again, the other challenge that I faced was like when you say such stuff and people would ask you your level of education, and you told them that you only you only graduated at A level only, then they will start to question the credibility of the ideals that you are telling them.
This week on Health and Living Talk Show.
By precancerous lesions, we're talking about amazai or amakanda, or the eggs that hatch into cancer.
We chat with Brenda Madondo, a cervical cancer specialist from the Generational Changes Girls. She tells us more about cervical cancer, from the causes, stages, and forms of treatment.
I remember this girl, she said, I met my mindfulness there and I just couldn't get screened. So what we do, we're going to do a further investigation that is called punch biopsy.
Do not miss Health and Living Talk Show every Monday at 10:15 a.m. on site.
For those who are just joining us, this is code 0292 and I'm Lungile. I'm still with Owen Moyo. We're discussing his book, The Power, Anger Over Joy. So Owen, okay, I think you've already answered my next questions, because I was about to ask you, like, who is the target audience for your book? Who's the target reader for your book? Because the way it's just, I think it's very interesting. So I would ask that, would a normal young person grab your book, read it, and actually understand what's the power that they might have if they stood alone? Would they actually understand that? Would they actually understand that anger is not an emotion like what you say, but then anger is something that you can take and realize that the person who, when you're angry, you can say the truth to someone? Would a young person be able to interpret it in that way?
It's pretty hard to tell the truth, Mangwe. It's pretty hard because in a way everyone is who he is. Maybe today, especially our young people, they are who they are because of influences, as you said, of externalities. Because of those externalities, I think there will be a few who would relate to the book. But as you to answer your question much more broadly, my target audience is the social scientists, those who are interested in studying society. The book actually goes deeper to society, and I'm sure the social scientist guys could really relate to it and coil even a social theory out of it. The people, university students, they might relate to it much more better. Even it can be also academic. And even politicians could actually take a look at it because it has got political examples inside, political figures. One of the most influential people in the book, they were used as examples, the likes of Mandela, the likes of King Idris, the likes of Hitler. So those are the examples that are in the book. And in a way, anyone who is interested in history, social sciences, and anyone who loves new dimensions of life would actually fall for the book.
Okay, and let's talk about this individualism that the book explains. What if people are struggling with an identity crisis? How can they relate with the book when you yourself do not know where you are? How can you realize the power that is within you?
Okay. There's what we call a subtitle. I call it a PowerPoint title. And the book is taking the power, anger over joy in the valley of dual identities. Mm-hmm. Almost everyone is in a valley of dual identities, two identities. We're in a valley of two identities. An identity that is acceptable by society, an identity that we really desire to have, but we cannot because we would like to fit into society. Right? How does one escape through that valley? They escape through the formula of understanding the concept of anger over joy. The concept of anger over joy is a concept that seeks to empower us not to act on keeping everyone happy, but to act on self-development, of self-empowerment, so that after self-empowerment, we can redefine ways and norms of society.
Okay. So in a way, it's also, this book explains what air hostesses always explain when you're in the plane, and if it so happens to be an emergency, you first have to save yourself before you save someone else.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So when you're not writing, what will you be doing?
What do I do when I'm not writing? And again, I read. When I'm not writing, I read. When I'm not reading, I love.
Okay.
Yes. When I'm not loving, I converse with people. I mix and mingle.
You read. What do you read? What do you love?
Okay.
Or who do you love?
Okay. Nice questions. Nice questions there. I read most of the things that I read non-fiction. That's why I wrote a non-fiction book. I read philosophy. That's why I'm so happy sometimes. I'm so twisted in whatever I say at times. What I love, basically, I love country music. And again, it's so awkward though. Some things that I wrote in the book are influenced by country music. I don't listen to the words in a song. I move with the sound. Those sounds, they lead. As I said, knowledge is everywhere. Even in the sounds of songs, there is knowledge.
All right. And since this is your first book, did you face or encounter any kind of challenges, since it's also about to be published? Any sort of challenges that you faced when you're writing this book?
Okay. I faced a lot of challenges. The first challenge that I faced was identifying who I want to publish the book with. That was my first challenge. At times it's so hard, you know. The information that I'm given here, you can easily tell. Would you hardly find a publisher who would relate to what you're saying? And it so happened that I found Masao Chiza, the billionaire publishers. Those are the guys that I'm publishing. They could relate to the style of writing I did, to the message that was portrayed by the book, and that is how I found a publisher. And secondly, the second challenge that I faced was how to raise funds toward the book publication. And as it is, I'm facing again challenges on how to raise funds to host a book launch. Yes, how to host a book launch. As it is, I'm planning to host it on the 16th of February. So those are the things that I'm still working on. And again, the other challenge that I faced was like when you say such stuff and people would ask you your level of education, and you tell them that you only graduated at A level only, then they will start to question the credibility of the ideals that you are telling them. So they start questioning everything. That what that does to an individual, it actually demotivates someone. It makes them feel low. But because I've harnessed the power of anger over joy, I just overcome those things in a way. I climb to the top of Mount Everest. Yes.
Okay, so I feel like this book is for everyone.
Yes.
Everyone who faces challenges,
Yes.
they need to read this book so that they can solve their issues, they can solve their problems, they can be able to support themselves in a way that no one else can.
True.
Can you tell us any last words that you can tell the viewers, and how can they access your book after it has been launched?
Okay, the book. After the book launch, the book will be uploaded on Amazon, and I'll provide the details on after the show how best can they find it on Amazon, and they can even contact me on my details. I don't know how best can we do it.
You can just say
I can just say them. Okay, my contact details is 077-883-2515, 077-883-2515. Those are my contact details. Hence, as a result, therefore, my last words would say, I would say to everyone out there, who maybe to our young people out there, things are not so rosy in our nation, and I would say to them, it is about what we do when we are in the moments of crisis. It is about what we do in those moments. Those moments are the ones which define us. And it's grasp 10 crises into chance. Those are the last words that I'll say to the viewers.
Okay. Thank you for coming to the show. I'm sure everyone out there, you heard what he was saying, and as soon as the book launch comes out, I'm sure that everyone will just go and grab it. Well, I'm sure you have heard it all, and you have learned a lot from this book and what Owen has been saying. From me, Lou, it's bye for now. See you next week with another exciting episode on Code 0292.